Well, good everybody. So it's Friday, the 9th of February, and we've been pretty busy, to say the least, in the last, it started last night about 7 o'clock and went through till, very late, and then we got a few hours sleep, and then it started very early. But all is sort of okay with what's going on. And in amongst, obviously, you've seen about Translated. That's a very unfortunate situation. They're now making their way to the Falklands, and there's not a lot they'll be able to do when they get there. There's not a lot of resources there, so that story is still evolving, and we wish them well, and we're working with them to try and keep them in the race if we can. But there's rules and regulations on how we do that. Then we had to put the press release together. We've been dealing with the MRCCs, and then just literally an hour ago or something, we had another false PLB alert. No dramas. We haven't even. I don't even know whether. I think Georgie will have contacted Jarrett to let him know, but it's a bit of a common thing for Sterner. Sterner popped another PLB by mistake, and they've, so we had to contact the various rescue coordination centres in the UK and in New Zealand and in Chile. We did all that. Did another sit rep to them to sign off on it. When we're dealing with Chile, there's a few people there that speak English in the MRCC. They're very good, but we still always follow it up with a written situation report. Same with New Zealand, and then we report to UK because that's our premier rescue coordination centre, the event having been started and finished in the UK. And so we've been dealing with them on a few issues. Anyway, the situation with Translated, you would have seen the video. We've got a much longer video of what's happening there. And they had some issues in Auckland with some cracks in the hull, but it was mainly around where the stern tube goes through the aft sections of the boat. This was new ones. They did suffer a knockdown just prior to this. I think it was a few hours before. Whether that caused it or what, we don't really know. But the reality was, in their normal inspections, they found some surface cracking in the starboard quarter sections in the locker there. You would have seen when they went down. That wasn't of real concern. They're just stress fractures, and you've got a lot of laminates on the hull underneath that. It shouldn't be there, but it was. But the one on the inside was quite dramatic. Or how do you explain it? It's a serious crack. And if you can imagine the laminates of a solid hull, these aren't cord hulls, it's just solid glass, made up of woven rovings and bits and pieces, and really thick in those areas. It's pretty solid. But it appears that the area where the rudder skeg comes through, there's a skeg there, and then the rudder hangs on the skeg, and that works a bit sideways to support the rudder and various other things. In the area just forward of the rudder skeg, it has actually fractured the laminate, and it must have sheared it all the way through because water's coming in. When that video was taken, the conditions were quite mild, and you can see that it's slightly moving a little bit. And in the video, it only shows you one crack, which goes parallel to the centerline of the boat. But there is another crack at the back of that, which goes vertically up through the side of the hull. It didn't show up very well in that short video, but in the long video clip, it's very clear, and they're quite substantial cracks. So obviously, the crew had concerns about their ability to cope in heavy weather if they had some, and they still had a fair way to go to Punta del Este here in Uruguay. And so their main concern was to get to a safe anchorage where they're sheltered from the weather, and then they can make a proper assessment. For safety reasons, we did allow them to contact their team in Italy and discuss the issues, show them the videos, and make any suggestions and recommendations. And it's not clear whether or not they would be able to effect a reasonable and secure repair for that crack while they're still afloat. That's yet to be determined. But for now, Marco and Simon have declared very clearly they're still racing, and they will sail safely to the Falklands, get in a secure anchorage, and then decide if they need outside assistance or not. They haven't declared that. Now, that creates some restrictions on what their team can and cannot do without suffering penalties anyway, and that will be assessed at a later stage. Normally, to make a satellite phone call, an unapproved satellite phone call, there would be an 18-hour or longer, up to 24-hour time penalty associated with that. If it's to do with safety, we have an option to look at that, and there's mitigating circumstances. So there is no decision on any penalties, if at all there will be. That's yet to be determined. So we'll see how this pans out. They're suggesting the ETA might be sometime tomorrow. They're bound for Port Williams now, which is Port Stanley. And we know that area well. We've got some friends that do a lot down there. Kirsten, who won the GGR, she's a frequent there, and she's passed on some contacts for us. And they're assisting logistically as an organizer. We have a responsibility to make sure they make safe anchorage and all that sort of stuff. Their team is organising the pre-arrival advance notice to the government officials there. The local rescue coordination centre is now involved. Not that they're certainly not in distress. This is a code orange, but it's nice to know those people are available if required. So they're just monitoring the situation as well. And Paul down there, Paul Ellis, is just giving us some advice and opinions on various aspects of what goes on. But to give you an idea, there is nothing in the Falklands that can lift translated out of the water. At best, there might be a crane that can lift the back end out of the water, half the boat, while they work on it. Or there is a cargo vessel that comes in, and that cargo vessel has some big cranes on board. So while it's there unloading, it might be possible to rent that to lift the boat, to do some work, whatever. There's all sorts of options. There's only one composite guy on the island. We're not sure how much material he's got there and things like that. So, but that's us as organisers doing it. It's not, we haven't signed off yet totally to let them go for broke on that. But it's not looking encouraging for their results. They were leading the race, which is really quite amazing. It's quite a story. So we wish them well, and we're working closely with them, and they're quite safe at the moment. No concerns. We're in good communication with them. So that's pretty much the translated story. Sterner story is okay. The White Shadow story this morning was like, whoa, what's going on there? You may have seen that. We were monitoring them coming in and thinking, they must be going to just jibing, attacking downwind. But then all of a sudden we realised that they were not doing that at all. So we're yet to hear their story, but I'll let you make up your own opinion on what was going on. It's interesting, of course, we spoke about this a bit yesterday, that Maiden, I'm quite sure that Heather decided to, let's make a landfall on those islands. They're quite high, just to confirm our navigation as we close the coast at night time. And if that was the case, a very sensible move. Either way, it worked. They dipped down, saw the islands. They knew exactly where they were then and come on up. And there was the issue of Spirit of Helsinki as well. I wonder what they were doing down there, and then all of a sudden turning and saying, shit, what are we doing down here? We better go up if we want to see Cape Horn. So there's some interesting stories coming there as well, I'm sure. The White Shadow, we'll have a chat to them and see what their story is later on. But anyway, all safe. They're moving around now. Maiden, or everyone's got getting around. There's still a few to go. So I think that's. I can't think of anything else to let you know. Follow the tweets. There's some good stories there. I took a call from Gene on Triana. He was just so excited to be going around Cape Horn. He just wanted to ring me personally and say good day and say, wow, this is an amazing thing. They are literally living the dream. So it's quite cool that everyone's getting so excited about it. And we've got various SoundClouds going up as well. So have a look at that. Anyway, let's go to the tracker and see what's going on here. Walk you through, and that will remind me of all the various things that are happening. So here we have translated heading back to Falklands. They were about 125 miles north 150 miles north of the Falklands. They're now coming down towards Port Stanley. And just to give you an idea, we get across here, Port Williams and Port Stanley. Where are we here? There, anyway, the bottom end, there's Stanley over here and Port Williams and so on. Anyway, they've got to come all the way down around the bottom, and then we'll just see what happens with what happens with the logistics. I think I can actually come right in here and show you exactly where they'll be heading. I'll keep pushing it down. Okay, I'm looking for the picture here for those of you that don't know the place. There we go. Where are we? Here we go. Cool. Where are we? There's the airstrip, and Stanley Township is in here. Port Williams is over here, but they can work their way in, and there's Stanley Township. So they've got a bit to go, but they're hoping to be there very soon. Anyway, that's you can actually have a good look at that later on when you want. Okay, keep going back. Where are we here? I've got to come back with the wind. Okay, and the tracks, because that's part of the interesting stuff. And we'll start off right at the back with Sterner and Explorer. So Explorer's trundling along. They've got solid breezes again, low 30s, gusting 40, 45, and sort of 4 or 5 metre seas, doing 8.2 knots and 194 mile a day. Sterner's moving a little bit faster than that. They've slowed down a bit. They were actually faster than Explorer, but now they're level pegging, 193 nautical mile a day, 8 knots, and hopefully by now they've turned off their PLB. The PLBs that are going off here, just as a matter of interest to explain the story again there, they are ocean signal units, which are combined AIS and PLB, which are a real pain in the ass. We actually banned them from the fleet, and somehow we gave a dispensation to Neptune, and they've got plenty of them popping off. And we didn't. I wasn't aware that Sterner had them on their boat. Somehow slipped through the system, but yeah, we absolutely don't want any, because the AIS going off is simple. You don't have to alert anyone if it goes off by mistake. But the PLB is a bit different, and the AIS goes off when the life jacket inflates. So yeah, we much prefer for our purposes to have a separate PLB and a separate AIS. That's why we didn't allow them in the OGR. So there'll be some discussions, I'm sure. We've got requests for reports from the MRCCs, because they've also had other incidents with those particular units as well. Not with the fleet, not in our fleet, but with other people using them. So let's see where that goes. Anyway, they're about their distance from Cape Horn at the moment. For Sterner and Explorer, Sterner is 611, so they're about 3 days away, 3.5 days away, and Explorer will be probably another day, probably 4 or 5 days from Cape Horn, and that may be of relevance in a minute when we look at the weather to see what they're likely to get in the next 4 or 5 days. So we can now build that up into the boats that are yet to go around, getting very close. Oh, we've got 2 just going around right now. There you go. Let's have a look at that. Yep, they've just got around, and I will. So Galliana's just gone around, and also White Shadow, which is cool. I'll show you how we calculate that in a minute. So looking back at Evrika, 8 knots and 180 nautical mile a day. Pretty good sailing conditions, typical Southern Ocean. And Outlaw 9.4 knots and 209 mile a day. So roaring along to Cape Horn. So what do we do here when we want to have a look at what time they actually passed Cape Horn? This might get boring for some. In fact, I'll do it at the very end. I tell you what, at the very end of this, I'm going to calculate their actual rounding time, and I'll replay the video so you can see exactly how we do it. In the meantime, White Shadow missed the rock there, came back out and around, and they've just passed it. So 8.6 knots and 209 nautical mile a day. Not too bad. It was actually probably more than that, because that was calculated not including the up and down here. It's just coming along the run line. So interesting. But it's allowed Galliana with Secure to sneak ahead in front of them, pick up some distance, doing 9.1 and 221 nautical mile a day. So they're absolutely flying. Conditions there, they've got 30, gusting 40, 45 again, 4 metre seas, although now that's coming into it. But now they're down to a couple of metre seas. It's always very quiet once they get the other side of it. So that's cool. The Esprit de Keep got round this morning early. They gave us a call as well. They haven't done 325 nautical mile a day, but they're currently doing 7.5 knots in beautiful conditions. They'll be enjoying that. Light winds heading for Estrecho de la Mer, coming down here again. In fact, all the boats have gone through the straits there, so that's cool. Triana doing 5.8 knots now. It looks like they've got the wind forward of the beam because they're still showing plenty of wind there. And a 250 mile day. They could have done that, but it still sounds a bit high. So that might be a little bit of a twig to the system. But now they've got some winds forward of the beam. So let's wait and see how that pans out. Coming up here, of course, the situation is changing dramatically now that Translated 9 is heading back to the Falklands. All of a sudden, Maiden is chasing Penjuic, and Spirit of Helsinki doing the same, and Neptune. So Neptune, 8.1 knots, 182 mile day, and Spirit of Helsinki, he's got good conditions on the beam there, 9.5 knots and 213 nautical mile a day. So this is going to change the leaderboard. All the rest of it's going to be in the real hunt now. And we've said it so often, and it's so true. It's never over till the fat lady sings. There's still a long way back to the UK. So Maiden doing 8.1 knots, 216 mile day. We have officially notified the fleet some time ago that Translated is still racing, but is on her way to the Falklands, and will assess to seek shelter, and will assess the hull damage when they get there. So Penjuic currently 9.2 knots, 214 mile day. Not a lot of breeze there. It's gone quiet, but it's going to fill in later on. So, and that was part of the decision with Translated. When we were talking to Marco on Translated, we then sent them a 3-day weather impression of what was happening. And on day 3, there was some stronger winds. They had thought they might try to make the coast over here and seek shelter, but in the end, they all decided on board they would turn around, which is exactly what they've done there, and go for the Falklands, as it was the closest secure port that they knew they could get to with the reasonable weather. So what's the distance to the finish for Translated? It's 714 mile day. There's 714 miles to go to the finish, and it's the 9th. Normally you'd say that's 3.5 days or 4. It's probably going to pan out to 4 days, which is the 13th. But I think there's still some challenges there, so I'm still expecting them to be arriving in Yacht Club Punta del Este on the 14th sometime. But we can look at that. I'll come back to the back of the fleet now. We'll go through the 2-day weather, a couple of days for Explorer and Sterner, and then we'll look at the others going forward. So here we go. It's just lightening off a little bit, but typical Southern Ocean. So we've got 4 to 5 days for Explorer, and what's going to happen there. So there's on the 11th. We're coming 2 days ahead. There's some big weather coming, but they may just miss it. So at this stage, that's the 2nd. So the 12th, 9, 10, 11, 12, 3 days. At that stage, they'll be down here somewhere, and Sterner will be even a little bit closer. And then previously, this heavy weather was going to dip down to the southeast and miss the Horn. So there we go. They're going to get this puff here. For sure. So 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep, Sterner's going to get a blast through there. Now, looking at that, it narrows into a band, but there's some big winds there. That's going to be 50s and so on. And tomorrow's tracker will put windy up and have a good look at the weather and what they're likely to get going around. But that's the 13th, so Sterner's in amongst that. And then generally, that's the only band. The rest of it's going down below. And as it gets closer to the Horn, it drops off again. So this is the 13th. That's going to be 30s, gusting 40, 45, probably 5 metre sea. The good news, this big wind is coming from the northwest, and it doesn't build a huge sea. It does have a cross sea. If the big wind has been building from the southwest, that's when they get gigantic. You can get 15 metre seas, 20 metre seas rolling through here, which is huge. But with the northwest, they don't tend to get much more than sort of 8, 9, or whatever, but let's have a look at that on windy tomorrow. So for now, the next couple of days, quite comfortable, but it looks like they're going to get a classic rounding as well. So what's happening to the middle fleet here? All the guys here will forget about, or we'll see how that impacts with Translated as well. It looks like a solid southwesterly airflow for Outlaw and a northwesterly airflow for Outlaw and Evrika going forward. So we just push that through. gets a bit tighter at the horn there. And for Maiden and the others, they've got headwinds. They're probably 20 knot, maybe gusting 25 knot headwinds in the next 24 hours. Translator's got a nice gentle tailwind to come down around the Stanley. So that's going to assist them. They're currently, so no, and then for Triana and the Esprit de Keep, they'll come through and get it on the beam until they carry on up a bit higher. I hope I'm not talking too fast again. Then there's a big hole there, so Triana and I think the others will be up battling these headwinds. So, but for there's some headwinds there as well. For I think Galliano will be through by then. This is the 11th. There's 2 days' time. They'll be through. Maybe Outlaw and Avrika are going to get some of this headwind as well. So that's what I call tactical sailing. Then again, they've just got to sail smart, but then it comes around with a big puff, all from behind. It didn't last very long. It's been overridden by this system that's come through and given them favourable fast sailing conditions. Translated have got good conditions all the way down into Stanley, so they should be there sometime later tomorrow, and then we'll have another better look at what's going on. So 9, 10, 11, I'll just keep pushing that through and see how that's all moderate stuff, but it's absolutely consistent, and it's going to really give this back end group a chance to, I don't know, that's going all the way up nearly. So by then I think Penjuic will have some challenges, so it won't be making fast averages for a couple of days. But then if they're still lagging behind, they'll get the push on this all the way up to Punta probably. So that's the 12th. They'll just be into that. Yep, it's going to push them all the way through to Punta. There's the 13th. Plenty of breeze there, and then they've got a light finish off. So they'll have a light one coming into the finish, and everyone else at the back will be challenged by different aspects. This is where the weather, we're out of the southerlies and southwesterlies. They all in the Southern Ocean, it's northwest through to southwest, but now you can get anything when you turn the corner here. So nothing that looks too dramatic, but we'll do a windy check on that tomorrow. I think that's probably about it for now. I'll do the calculations of roundings for those that want to see what we do to get the time. First of all, we pick it right up here. I'll just look at Galliano with Secure and White Shadow. I've got to make it really big here. Keep it coming. Really big. They're on 1 hourly positions when they go through Cape Horn. Then what I've got to do, I've got to get them down to the video replay, which is right here. Okay, so what we do is we hit that. We've now got the speed there, and I'm going to draw them backwards a little bit. We've got to be super sensitive. There's the Esprit de Keep. So we can start with the Esprit de Keep. I've got to get a biro now. It's cheap because I don't have one here. Stand by. Okay, I got a biro now. Okay, so the Esprit de Keep. What you can see now is when I start this up, I'm not sure the speed. When I hit the play button here, it's going to start moving. You see they're moving, and I stopped them again. Cape Horn is right there. So as soon as they get level with that, that's their official rounding time, and that's about there. They're directly underneath Cape Horn. Okay, so that's good enough for us. And then we translate the date and time from here. That's the date time sequence. So officially, the Esprit de Keep went around at 16:48 hours UTC on the 8th of February. Right? Yeah, 16:48 UTC on the 9th of February. Oh no, sorry, got it. I'm reading the wrong numbers. So on the 9th of February 2024 at 8:16 and 48 seconds UTC. Okay, so 9th of Feb, 8:16 and 48 seconds UTC. Okay, so there goes L'Esprit de Keep. Now I just come back here and I start the video replay going again. I'm going to use the mouse here, so I can speed this up if they're too far behind, but we'll just keep talking here while it's happening. I think, where are they? Come on. No, they're too far away. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit. This is the speed here. So there we go. I sped it up. There goes. Look at White Shadow up there. See that? Boom. Here comes Galliana. Boom, 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 boom. So now I'm going to slow them down a bit because I want to capture them. So that's the speed there. You can play with the speed. You can do this with the whole fleet. It's quite fun. And you can do it right from the very beginning, from the start in Auckland. On each of the legs, you can do an instant replay. When you do that, you lose the actual weather gradient. I'm about to stop Galliana in a minute. Here they come. 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 Boom. Okay, there's Galliana. So that's near enough. There's Cape Horn going amidships. So Galliana will be 9th of Feb, 14:52 and 56 seconds. We don't usually record the seconds. So that's the official time for Galliana with Secure. And then we do the same again for the L'Esprit de Keep. Here they go, coming in to have a look. Boom, boom, boom. Going. A little bit more. Boom, that's it. Okay, so their official time will be 15:40 and 53 seconds on the 9th. So that's basically what we do. It's not an official record or anything like that, but it's our best estimates of what's going on, and it works on the longitude of Cape Horn right here. And that's really it. So to get back to normal, you just grab that, push it that way, and we're back into the normal bits. So now we'll go to the leaderboard and have a look at that. I'm waffling on a bit. It's not even the weekend. Usually I keep all that for the weekend. Okay, Line Honours translated is still there, coming second because Maiden hasn't quite caught up yet, but you're going to see some changes there now. Maiden, Spirit of Helsinki, Neptune, Triana, and so on. Now you'll see some difference in IRC straight away. Okay, translated is still there because they had a couple of days up their sleeve on that one. So anyway, 34 days, 19, and Triana is now coming in looking like 35 days, 1. So they're only, what have we got, 34, only 4 hours away from translated, and you're going to see that change. So Triana will be picking up the lead on IRC rating. They're currently in relation to Penjuic. Triana are 35 days, 1 hour, and Penjuic is 36 days, 12 hours. So it's 1 day and 11 hours difference. So they've got a big objective now to stay ahead of that. But anyway, Penjuic has done well. They've stretched their legs and they're getting to perform the way they should. Neptune is next at 36 days, 20 hours. And then it's Maiden at 37 hours, so only 4 hours behind Penjuic. It's all a bit wide open at the moment. So that's good to see. It makes it very interesting. And Galliana with Secure is only 2 hours behind Maiden, only 2 hours. So everything is working out really closely here. And that's kind of interesting because they're all sailing pretty hard and fast. And it's amazing to see them so close together after all that racing. And then you go then from there, White Shadow, 37 days and 19 hours. So it's all pretty tight IRC racing. Spirit of Helsinki is a bit down on the grades, but interesting stuff. Okay, I think that's enough of that. Let's go back here and I'll jump in and we'll see what's happening. Yep. Okay, so what do we got here? Okay, go right back to the beginning. Hi, Nigel. Yeah, it's amazing because every time we do something with an MRCC, we've got to do it by phone, and then we do a sit rep, and the sit rep's got to be a set format. You've got to get all the facts. So you've got to download all the facts first, and then to do the press release, Jack and everyone, Rob setting everything up, and Jane, we're all just been going around in circles. And Rob's about to jump a plane, and he's heading up to London at the moment to do some stuff, and then he's flying down, so he'll be off the air for a bit and arrives here on the 12th, just in time for Penjuic. Anyway, yes, Francis, poor translated 9. This is one of those things. They rebuilt the boat, right? And it's very hard to say, what your opinion is on the structure. They've stripped everything and then rebuilt all the other stuff. So it is kind of sad in a way, but to a degree you make your own luck. But I'm looking at it and thinking, jeepers, what would have I done differently on Translated for this event? Nothing, you know. So it'll be interesting to see what the issues are and how simply it can be fixed. But that's the nature of these events. They're always a bit of attrition, and it's a race of attrition at any time. You know, you try not to make mistakes and let others make the mistakes, and that's how you get ahead. This isn't a mistake. This is just sort of like, wow, you know, kind of interesting. Clearly diverted the focus of wise move, safety first. Yeah, Simon. Sally Ellis. Hi, Sally Ellis is the wife of Paul Ellis, who is giving us a lot of very valuable local advice from Martech in the Falklands. And we met up with Sally in the Sable d'Olonne at the GGR. She's friends with Kirsten and all the rest of it. So good to see you, Sally. Thanks for your help with Paul as well. Gratefully received. And we'll look forward to ongoing reporting. We'll let everyone know what's going on with Translated. We have our fingers crossed. You know, my personal opinion, am I entitled to give it? Yes, I probably am. I doubt whether they'll be able to do a suitable repair without seeking outside assistance. I hope they can, but it'd be pretty epic if they do. That's the only way I can describe that. And obviously, Marco wants to keep all the options still racing in case something comes good in the end, you know, because if they give it away too early, so there have been restrictions on the communications they can do. We've accepted a certain level for safety reasons, and but there's other things they can and can't do. So we'll see how that pans out. But I'll be very surprised, and I really hope they can do it. You remember Neptune did the same. We have given under the notice of race, we have to give approval for a boat to enter a port because it's not allowed under the notice of race. But we've given that approval. We've explained very clearly to Marco and Simon what the rules require, and that means no one can step on the boat, no one can give them any water or any food. The crew can't get off the boat. People can take their lines and help tie them up, but they're restricted to the boat, and then they can work on the boat and leave. And that's exactly what Neptune did back in Cape Town and maintained their racing status. The moment you get any outside assistance, you're out of the rankings for that leg. So you lose all benefit from that leg, which really puts you out of the race, but you're still involved in the event. So for Translated's sake, I really hope they can do something, but it's going to be tough. Andrew, g'day, Andrew. What a disaster for them. Yeah, it sure is. Peeps, did you know if Trevor hit something or if it's just old age? I doubt whether they hit something. They're not reporting hitting anything. They had the knockdown. That might have stressed some stuff. I haven't discussed with them how bad that knockdown was, but who knows? I'm not sure what's been done with the boat at that point. You remember Sterner had some issues which were based around some movement of the rudder and the skeg and so on. And yes, the boats aren't young, but they're so solidly built. Who knows what? On Explorer, we did a lot of work on the rudder, but it was all associated. The structure of the skeg was fine. Was all associated with renewing everything associated with metal parts, new rudder shaft, gudgeons, bearings, a whole lot. Everything was new. And but most of the boats go through a substantial refit, so we don't know. Okay, Larry, sleepless days and nights, getting on a tracker. Yep, a lot going on. No, not for us. This is what we do, and it's we've got a good little team. Georgie, Jack, and Rob, and everyone. We get it done. Jane's always busy. Jane's office is on the bed. She's doing the stuff on the bed all the time because I'm working here. She's in there. Anyway, another story. I was raised in the Falklands. They will be well looked after. Yeah, I have no doubt about that. When I say there's not a lot of support there, it's logistics support. It's still an island. It's the middle of nowhere. There is only one flight a week going in and out. So it's just challenging. But we know from past history with events and sailors that end up marooned there for whatever, they get fantastic support. But you can only do so much. Ada, not on that time stage, the French boat Triana is the leader of leg first. Yeah, that's right. Triana's doing particularly well, and it's going to make the whole situation a little bit different now. So all kind of good. I'm not good on IRC, neither am I, Ada, so that's fine. But anyway, we just follow the numbers from the machine. It's never over till the fat lady sings, but it could be a French boat. You never know. Hi, Chris. They're underwater epoxies. Hopefully they have some in their stores. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there, but we'll see what happens. Port Williams has brought her in there, Port Stanley, the town, rather city these days. Yeah, well, we're getting good advice on that, so we'll see what happens. Another post, well, yep, looked after, yep, I'm sure they will. Probably do eventually. The people that invented GPS must wonder what the world's gone bonkers. Yeah, I can't wait to speak to Christoph and the boys on White Shadow. That'll be quite an interesting story. Oh, we were just going in, have a look. Yeah, anyway. So anyone, we got the man looking for a job again. Jeepers, there he is. G'day, John. Good to see you again. Ada, yes, is what I was saying. Triana currently leading the fleet. Yeah, that's exactly right. I lost a bit there. Okay, so I'm Tino leading on IRC, though Triana will certainly overtake them. Yeah, it's just a natural. So everything's going to change dramatically because, Translated were leading the fleet on IRC. So ready, but are the other boats in the race? We did inform them now that Translated 9 is seeking shelter to assess damage and returning to the Falklands. So, never stress on doing this. I mean, you feel for the entrance. There's a huge investment of time, money, passion, and everything involved with this stuff, and that's the attraction of it. There's risk, there's challenge, there's endurance, there's sensible planning, all that sort of stuff. It's like a military operation. So, it's the race is full of stories, and that's what we always say. It's always about the stories. Anyway, all good. So we'll see you tomorrow, and I'll bring Windy up so we can assess what's going on with the bits. Thanks for that. See you later. Have a good weekend tomorrow.